And we are live.
Yo, good evening, people. How y'all doing on tonight? It is Real Talk with Rich. It's your boy Rich in the building, and I have a couple of guests, or should I say, I have one guest. I have one host. I got the lovely moderator Tameko in the building. I have the original Don Dada all in the building. And so tonight we're going to do a show. It is Sunday Night Live. And we're coming to you just for a little quick bit. We're not going to be here long, hopefully. But you know how that goes. We always say that, but it winds up being something else. But tonight, I'm kind of insisting to be in early because I'm not a spring chicken and I need my rest.
You're
I
not
want to
beautiful
say,
enough.
how you guys doing? Huh?
I said you're not beautiful enough.
Hey, look, I'm trying to get some sleep. Beauty ain't got nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with my attitude when I wake up in the morning on a Monday and getting a fresh start. You know, my wife she's told me she's getting tired of me going to bed after nearly midnight after eating a whole bucket of popcorn and, you know, don't want to get up on Monday morning because I have to be up. My alarm goes off at 4:45. So, yeah. But anyway.
I see you got, what is that? You're a Ciabatta Boy shirt on?
Yes, I have a Ciabatta Boy shirt. Shout out to Paperbacks and Soundtracks. They are not a sponsor, but I support those guys. Shout out to Amir and Kay. Congratulations
I have
to
on
both
my
of them. Both of these guys are
Black
really...
Comic Lord shirt.
Hey.
All right.
Available at your merch
Right
shop at blackcomiclords.net.
Well, see now you cut me off, and I ain't mad at you because you had a good reason, I guess. But I wanted to congratulate those guys. Both people just recently married, and it's a lifelong staying in your pocket. And I don't know if these guys are seeing it, but I'm gonna give you some advice an old deacon gave me. Open your wallet and shut up. You'll be all right. Just open your wallet, shut up. You know. All right. You'll have peace. You'll have security. You won't have to sleep with one eye open.
Your life will be so much easier.
Huh? But anyway, I want to welcome Comic Lords, Black Superheroes Forever crew. Also, I want to thank you guys for joining us on tonight. We do have a show. And we're going to start off with Books of the Week. And Tameko, would you be so gracious to bless us with what it is what is your book of the week?
My book of the week. X-Men Red, #2.
Oh, I love that.
Hey!
This is here.
Right.
It's going to be Unbeaten cover by Torrin Clark.
I love that cover.
Wow.
I have that same issue.
Wow.
This one was a key. It was so much fun. Abigail Brand is scheming and plotting with her group of X-Men.
Scheme, plot.
And Aurora Monroe is regulating with her brotherhood. Amen.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she just snatched Vulcan by the throat, and yeah. that was. You know, I know y'all like to protect Storm, and I ain't mad at it. But Storm is a savage. she be smacking. She smacked more people than T'Challa. I mean, you know, and it was funny because when I read the issue, I enjoyed it. I just said to myself when I was reading it, I'm like, this chick is out of control. No one can stop her. No one can. She is a Omega level mutant, and I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, she is someone you can say, who gonna really check her?
Mm-hmm. Certainly not
I'm
Gabriel Summers. Certainly not Gabriel
Yeah.
Summers. because
No.
she already had her fun, having to smack Scott around a little bit. So yeah, the
Yeah.
fanboys were all upset. All upset. How could she beat Vulcan? I said, first of all, Vulcan is not at his peak. He's not right in the head. And Storm is all of that. So why wouldn't she beat him?
Well, I don't think he's gonna be going up trying to test her anytime soon. What about you, Paul? What you got, man? What you check out this week?
Man, you know what I checked out this week, man. Stop playing with me.
Okay, well, let's not spend half an hour talking about that book, okay? I'm just saying. Go ahead, tell us, Paul.
I'm still thoroughly irritated. I've actually been reading this week a lot of back issues, so you'll have to excuse me if I don't have a lot of the new reads of the week. I've really been in my back issue
it's
thing.
Book of the week, not new book of the week.
Oh, well, book of the week would be I'm reading Star Wars Darth Vader right now. Specifically, starting with issues, this is volume 2, issues 6 through the current, basically. Really getting into the issues where the Inquisitors were introduced, the Grand Inquisitor and the other Inquisitorius were introduced, and rereading those issues in light of the Ben Kenobi television show. I can't wait for Reva, the third sister on that show, to show up in comics. That's going to be a really big, huge deal. It's been a delightful television show. And look, if you're a fan of that show, highly recommend picking up Star Wars Darth Vader. That is just, of all the Star Wars comics, that's the one that's consistently fire. Every single issue. There are no whack issues in that series. It's a phenomenal series and very, very, very much slept on.
Well,
I'm a Star Trek kind of gal, so I might actually pick that up if they put Reva in the books.
Yeah.
I picked this up recently. This is actually part of the Darth Vader book. Is this book here? That's not Reva.
Oh, that's Admiral. I forget her name. Yeah. She's an admiral who's in the book.
Yeah. This is issue 13. Actually, and funny thing is, this is Darth Vader. In this particular issue, Darth Vader fights BB-89 or 88. And we know our good friend Rodney Barnes wrote a one-shot about that. So this killer droid is going against Darth Vader. This is a real good issue. Don't want to
IG-88. The assassination droid.
So as far as books that I read in the week, I'm going to share 2 books. Back issues. I'm reading Shadowland right now. So my back issue book of the week is going to be this one, which is Power Man, Shadowland Power Man issue 2.
That's his first appearance, right? In that issue?
No. It's actually first appearance is actually book 1. But
book 1.
I chose that one particularly because it's a continuation story. Shadowland is like 31 issues. I'm about halfway through. And it's a pretty good story. It's a story about Daredevil, who joins the Hand, which is a ninja clan, mob clan, basically. And his thought is, well, I'm going to turn this criminal organization to a good organization. So he builds a castle right in the middle of Hell's Kitchen. And he begins to just, take everybody's head, starting with Bullseye. So I'm enjoying it, loving it. But that particular issue that has Power Man in it, he beats the brakes off of Luke Cage and Iron Fist. And they're kind of figure out how is it this guy can withstand the Iron Fist, and how is he so powerful? He's a young cat. And so why is he walking around with this mantle? Because he calls himself Power Man. He's like, Cage is like, I'm Power Man.
And his real name is Victor Hernan Alvarez.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun read. It's a fun read. So I'm enjoying it thoroughly. And like I said, I'm about halfway through. Next book is going to be this one here, Land of the Living Gods, issue 4.
Yeah, that's my book right there.
Shout out to Isaac Motojani. I will say that this book is very, very African. And what I mean by that is that a lot of the words that they use is Zulu, and you get interpretations of the words. So you get to learn some new language, you know, a part of the story. And it's a story about an albino child. And in Africa, albino children are, I can't say just children, albino people, period, are sought after by witch doctors and roots people because they think they have some kind of magic. And so this child has been basically kidnapped and sold to be executed or to be her parts divided up. But she's searching out what they call the living gods. She's looking for the land of living gods. And that's where these gods that live in this paradise, because this is like a dystopian backstory, so to speak. So she's trying to find paradise, so to speak. And she meets a young guy who's in jail also, or who's in a dungeon with her. And he actually is the son of a living god. So I think it's only one more issue to this thing. Aftershock, you might need to extend this. I'm just saying. It's a great story, beautiful art.
Yeah, that book and New Masters are just definite pickups. So just side by side, those are great books to be reading right now.
Yeah, we had a comment just now. Somebody just acknowledged us. Who was that? I'm sorry.
It's quite a few people. Arthur English is driving. Drive safe, brother. He's listening in. James Tomlinson is in the building. Shout out to James Tomlinson. Azor's Tiger Comics.
Yes, that's the one. Thanks, guys, for tuning in with us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please hit the like button. Tell your buddies to hit the like button. Please, please, please. We're trying to get our viewership up for the algorithm so we can get more eyes on us.
And shout out to Phantom Realms Comics, which is also joining us tonight.
That's what's up. So let's shift gears, guys, and let's move to our segment, Low Hanging Fruit. That's a segment, ladies and gentlemen, where we get to talk about things that are in the news. And I woke up this morning yawning, going to sit on the ivory throne.
That might be TMI,
like
bro.
most people, like most people, I do what people that have a kingdom do. They go to Twitter, and I was scrolling Twitter, and Twitter's the devil. Let me just go on record and saying that. Might want to run the disclaimer right now, Paul. I'm about to go in.
Oh Lord, let me get the disclaimer up. Where's the rich disclaimer? Here we go.
I'm just saying.
All right, hold on, everybody. Okay, now you can go ahead and get us all in trouble.
That's so adorable.
Look,
let me start shaking my head.
I'm just shaming the devil and telling the truth. Twitter is the devil. Okay, so I woke up to this tweet, and it was on the Black Comic Lord's tweet timeline. And there was a gentleman who tweeted out a comment about hashtag recast the chop. And he kind of infers that it is misogynistic. He cites an article. And this article is from medium.com. And I'm taking it as from his own blog. But the title of the article is hashtag recast the child movement or is that misogyny or I can't say that word.
Is that even a real word?
It is now, yeah.
Hey. To him it is. So
misogynoir. So that's like you hate black women? I mean, how does that work?
You don't think highly of women, especially black ones. Asterisk.
Man, that's a made up point. There's some foolishness right there, man.
Okay.
But continue.
This is where intersectionality politics can go wrong. And I'm gonna just read a little bit of the article. It says here, August 28, 2020, the day we
Don't
all
encourage
found
him,
out
Azores.
Chadwick
Don't
Boseman.
encourage him.
I'm just saying. From colon cancer after quietly struggling with disease for 4 years. As Black fans of Marvel Studios' Black Panther and Boseman's other starring roles reeled from the announcement and began to collectively mourn, the fandom website Screen Rant did the unthinkable. They posted an article on who could replace Boseman T'Challa. The backlash was rightfully immediate and intense. To say the move was in bad taste would be a gross understatement. Screen Rant immediately retracted the piece and issued an apology. Public sentiment was loud and clear. Chadwick is T'Challa, but more importantly, Chadwick is a real man that died a good death. What will you do? 3 months later, during the ever first Disney Plus Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige announced that the role of T'Challa would not be recast. It was a smart and caring move to honor the life and death of a man who was not only Marvel Studios' first choice for the character, but also crafted a specific version of the character that audiences loved and now know. After a series of questionable casting decisions, the whitewashing of the Ancient One, Wanda, Pietro, Billy, and Tommy Maximoff, the colorist casting of American Chavez and Kamala Khan, they finally made a decision that was overall to be considered a thoughtful decision to continue the franchise, but to honor the real man. Or so I thought. Just under 2 months after Marvel Studios' announcement, this is where he announcement. Emmanuel Nosiek, creator of E-Man's movie reviews, posted a YouTube video advocating for the recasting of T'Challa. Shout out to E-Man. We interviewed him. Go to our YouTube page and look it up. It's got about 800 views. It's almost going to have 1,000. So shout out to E-Man. But anyway, in it, he states that the recasting of T'Challa is necessary to not only honor Chadwick, but for representation for Black boys who need to see a Black king. He also states that Shuri should not be the lead, but if she can still be the representation for Black girls while sequestered off in the spin-off series on Disney Plus. I'd go into more in detail, but the same talking points he used are being parroted, what has since grown into a very vocal, though not yet still not yet large. Wow, this guy here, he is so petty. Online movement known as hashtag recast T'Challa. The point is to call for recast, supposedly, which is about Black boys and having trouble to tell them that the hero is dead, which is utter BS. That's what he doesn't say that, but you know. I confronted him then. He says, I confronted him about it then, and I'm confronting him with it now, because I saw it what it was. An adult Black man uncomfortable with Black girls and women playing with his toys. That is the long and short of it. I was really disappointed, because while I understand the need for representation and the need for Black girls and Black women to be elevated, you don't have to do it at the expense, okay, of Black boys or Black men. I think this intersectionality thing gets talked about online so much so that when we have a situation like this, because there are Black women who are for the recasting of T'Challa. They're not even talking about, well, make Shuri the Black Panther.
It's not.
They're just wanting.
It's not a man and woman issue. It's never been a man and woman issue. E-Man has never made it a man and woman issue. That's because that's what this clown is doing. I appreciate the fact that you never mentioned him by name, because he doesn't deserve that. Mm-hmm. He's a clown who's just trying to get some likes and gaslight people.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but that really bothered me, because it's almost like the little boy that cried wolf. When real situations happen and real marginalization takes place that should be addressed, but then you do it, you take a point to do it with this of all things. And you know, some people got at him, and there was some sisters. It was like, hey, look, this is not what that is. I don't know where you got that from, but this is not it. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, all of us love Shuri, and I want to see Shuri as Black Panther, but I do want to see T'Challa recasted. Now, we were kind of joking last week, I think it was, about, you know, uh, Letitia Wright being kind of thin on the thin side, and so I don't know how athletic she's going to be in Wakanda forever, but we'll see. It's one of those things though where I'm asking you guys. Paul, you said it like this. I remember something that you've always said, and especially when it comes down to T'Challa. Can we have nice things? So, Tameko, let me ask you. In this situation like this, do you actually believe that this is a situation where Shuri is being minimized to recast T'Challa? Because I just don't. I never that my mind never went to that. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, sister?
My only thing about this recast T'Challa thing, okay, it's a whole lot of people making a whole lot of noise online for something that we have not seen yet. I am willing to suspend my disbelief. I'm willing to sit and wait and see what happens. Because all of this, now they're talking about, okay, is it misogyny noir because we don't want Shuri to be it? That's a side issue to what's really going on. And the thing about it is we don't know. We have to be willing to be patient and wait until November 11th, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
When that movie comes out. And hopefully I can duck and avoid all the spoilers so I can just go in fresh. And then we will see how they choose to honor Chadwick and how they choose to honor T'Challa. Because all of this is just, all this nattering is just, it's annoying. Because I had to mute that on my Twitter because I was tired of seeing it. I was like, why don't we just wait until the movie comes? And then once you see it, then you can decide whether or not, okay, they're shafting Shuri in the movie, or they found some way to keep T'Challa in, even though our beloved Chadwick Boseman is gone.
Got you. Paul, what about you, bro?
What do
does
I
this guy
think
have
about
any leg to stand on?
Let me tell you what I think.
You pouring a drink. This is not Wakanda whiskey.
Is that the bourbon? Is that the bourbon?
No, this is scotch.
God.
Let me tell you what I think.
You know what? We probably should have read the disclaimer just now.
Oh yeah, you have your own disclaimer, don't you? Come on.
I do.
Okay, Derek, I have to have my own too, sir. Please, thank you.
Tameko, you never say anything wrong.
Oh goodness!
Listen.
Yeah.
You have Ryan Coogler, Nate Moore, Kevin Feige, the whole cast and crew put together one of the most important films of all time. And that sounds really, really large to say something like that, right? One of the most important films in all time. But it's not inaccurate, because it's not about whether it's the best Marvel film or what have you, because it's not. It's my favorite Marvel film, but I won't say that it's the best one. But it's one of the most important films of all time because it shattered the glass ceiling. It shattered the myths that a leading man or woman who is of color, of black, cannot make $1 billion film. It can't be directed by a black person, written by a black person, produced by a black person, have a majority black cast and crew, and be successful. They shattered that. They destroyed it. They disintegrated it, that myth. That's what makes it one of the most important films of all time, period. So you have to have a degree of faith that that same crew, who are all back for this film, won't screw the pooch, right? They're not going to screw it up. Now, cast, not recast, etc. I mean, I understand all the debate on that. This guy, this clown, is making an issue that is completely sideways to the issue of recasting T'Challa. no one has ever phrased, particularly the leader of the movement, the E-Man, Emmanuel Morissette, has never ever phrased or couched his arguments on recasting T'Challa in any type of gender terms whatsoever. In fact, he's on record in our interview, even saying, "I hope they get a Shuri as Black Panther. I have no problems with Shuri being Black Panther. There's precedent in the comic books for Shuri being Black Panther, but T'Challa never died in order for Shuri to be Black Panther in the comics. It's not necessary. So if they're gonna kill T'Challa in the movies, that's to fit some type of narrative that they're trying to create for the films. In essence,
Right.
they're going to profit off of T'Challa's death. They know that people will come see this movie out of respect for Chadwick Boseman by itself. So if you're going to have him dead in the film, you're profiting off of this man's death. You can honor him, and I suspect, this is what I suspect. I suspect they will honor Chadwick's death by acknowledging the fact that his character disappeared during the 5-year blip. And so Wakanda did not have a king or Shuri for 5 years. They can do a flashback showing the honoring and funeral and death for T'Challa during those 5 years in the film, and that's how you honor the man. And then you show that he's not dead, as shown in Endgame. So I suspect that's what's going to happen. This has never been couched in terms of not having Shuri become the Black Panther. It's clear she's going to become the Black Panther. She got injured on set because she was doing set stunts. It's clear that's going to happen. So I'm not really going to worry too much about it. I'm not going to be like no T'Challa, no ticket yet. We haven't even seen the trailer yet. Let's at least see the trailer before we start going crazy.
Right. That's what's up. So
I don't want to give this guy any more time. He doesn't deserve it.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and switch gears again. We like smacking people around here. We like smacking people for no other reason than, we're petty and we got
that guy doesn't even that guy's not even worth the back of my hand.
Hey, you know what's funny though? The guy's a graduate from Rice University. I don't care. Went to Rice.
I went to university too. Doesn't mean I'm going to say everything I say is going to be accurate. I got a couple degrees.
Tragic.
Derek says he's working on your disclaimer, Tameko.
Awesome. Derek's the best.
Okay, guys. Let's go ahead and switch gears.
Shout out to Derek and Gordon and Dominic Smith, who are in the building as well.
That's what's up. Appreciate you guys joining us. So, I want to talk tonight about Black and white fandom. Is it the same? Is it different? And how is it different? And do we get the things that we see in the news and in fandom, social media, because it's different or because it's the same? I had to start that, we all of us enjoy comic books. This is a comic book centered space. We enjoy different aspects of the comic books. As you can look at my wall back here, I'm rocking the All Bishop wall.
That's
in the
my
background.
man.
Shout out to the X-Men. And right here, let me move my head out the way. That's the first appearance of Bishop. But
my second favorite X-Men.
Yeah, man. But see, that's the thing though. I don't hear a lot of white guys rocking with Bishop. And I wonder why that is. Part of me kind of like just kind of knows, well, it's a black guy. You just don't check for us like that. And so, I like Game of Thrones. We like Lord of the Rings. We enjoy things like manga. I don't, but people do. Black people do. And when it comes to our fandom, I just asked the question. What do you guys think? You know what I'm saying? Is it the same or is it different? And if it is different, what makes it different other than skin color?
Wow, that is a really loaded question, dude. Let me start with your boy Bishop. Bishop, when did he come out? 1991, something like that, right?
That's a good question. I believe so.
He's been out a
Yeah,
bit.
91.
Yeah, okay. So I'm surprised I remember that. So he's had. Let me look at my CLZ here. Let me share my screen. All right. So my man Bishop, my second favorite X-Men after Storm. He's had 3 different series on his own. This is his first one, self-titled book called Bishop. Right?
Right.
He's had 4 issues of that. He's also had the second series, that was in 1994. The second series he had was, that's the third. Sorry, that's the third. Yeah. I'm jumping ahead here. The second series he's had was this one, Bishop XSE, Xavier Security Enforcers. This one, he shared this series with his sister, Shard, who's over on this issue. I'm actually missing one issue.
That's Perm. That's Perm Bishop.
That's Perm. Well, most of Bishop's runs have been Perm. He did not get Locks until this series, which is Bishop the Last X-Man, which is a forgotten series. Bishop actually goes into kind of an alternative dimension type thing with Deathbird from the Shi'ar, and he actually has a child called Aaliyah with Deathbird. Don't know where she is. The point I'm trying to make with all this, in answer to your question, I own all these because I'm a big Bishop fan. Bishop has a storied history. He's been around since 91. He's been around for almost as long as Gambit has, right? He's been in the X-Men cartoon. He's been in the movies.
Matter of fact, I just thought about something. I think Bishop and Gambit got a book too, if I'm not mistaken.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, that's a book I need to get because I don't think I have that. And they have history together, Bishop and Gambit, in terms of where his origins are from. The point I'm trying to make is if you look at his background, where he was a commander in the XSE, he's been an X-Men all this time. He's got leadership skills, he's got fighting skills, he's got police skills. I didn't even talk about his other series called NYX, where he was a police officer. He has a lot of history. He's had a lot of series. When's the last time Bishop's ever led an X-Men team?
Never has.
Never has.
A decade or two.
He hasn't had his own. The only time he's been a leader, quote unquote, a leader, is when he had the XSE. And that was in the past, in the future, I guess, the future. Most recently, he just got promoted to captain commander of the island. What does that mean? It's kind of meaningless because you don't see him do anything different than he did before. In fact, that makes him in charge of all the forces on Krakoa, and yet where is the first place he goes to report? To go work under Kitty Pryde on Marauders. This man should have had his own X-Men team a whole long time ago, and he's never had. Now, why is it that I know all of this? Because I've been reading X-Men forever. He's my second favorite X-Men, and my fandom goes deep for him. I am a fan despite the fact that this guy is completely sidelined. Does that make my fandom any stronger than the white guys? I don't know. I will say this. As a black fan, meaning, and this is what I mean by being a black fan. I'm not talking about a black person who's into comics in general. I'm talking about a black person who's into comics with black characters in it. Why is that significant and different? Because you have to work harder to be a fan of black characters, because their appearances are so much more rare and their role in comics is so much more lowered. You know, Bishop should have had his own book as leader of his own X-Men. When they redid Marauders, he should have been the leader of his own team. Um, but it's never happened, and nor do I expect it to happen anytime soon. But I still remain a fan of him. Why should? But when you think about it, it's kind of sad because that means I have to have, as a fan of this character, I have to have lowered expectations for this character, or lower expectations in terms of what I expect to get from the comic book company, rather than what he is due. So, is fandom for black fans different than white characters? Yeah, because we're used to accepting less. Does that mean that that's what that's all I'm willing to accept and not read other books outside of Marvel? No, of course not. So before the Hoteps start jumping in on me saying, "Well, that's why I support black-owned comics and you guys are wasting your time," I do own black-owned comics as well. But I'm saying if you like a particular character from either of the big two, you're often going to be met with disappointment and lowered expectations because there's only so far you can go with the big two with these black characters who are not named T'Challa or Miles. So that's my 2 cents on it. Oh, someone's asked, is 282 or 283 for the first appearance? Looks like we lost Tameko for a sec. Look, it's a big debate. 282 is really, really, really kind of a glorified cameo, you know? But he's on the cover. That's why it's the more acceptable book. Because it not only was he on the last page of 282, but he was also on the cover. And he's introduced by name.
The full appearance.
Derek says, Paul sounds like the point at Dominic Smith made. Dominic says, I think one of the problems is we don't have enough stuff out for us. That's absolutely true. There's only so much that we have as a black fan. So, yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I think, though, that
much harder.
Yeah. I also think, though, that, you know, there is a lot of stuff out there. You just have to find it. It's not covered by and large because spaces like ours are new in this fandom. I mean, I was thinking about this today. I was out of comics in the mid 2000s. And there was a lot of stuff that came out in the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
That is popping today. One of those books is Adam the Legend of Blue Marble. You have that book because you bought the book when it came out. And you bought it for cover price.
Less than cover price. I pre-ordered it.
This guy.
Tameko's back.
Hey, wait. Well, is she back? Gordon says, Rich, I enjoy a lot of what you mentioned as well. I believe that the issue is that the white WS mentality prevents certain people from reading and enjoying black characters. I mean, you know, when we talk about fandom, I liken it to like, okay, if I watch, say, I don't know, Star Wars, I'm looking at it like I'm just enjoying what it is. I saw Star Wars in the movie theater in 1977.
As did I.
That's how old I am. Huh?
I said, as did I. My parents took me.
And, but as a 9-year-old sitting there, I wasn't just riveted in my seat or just kind of scratching my head. What are black people? I was just enjoying myself. I was just enthralled with the story. And, my perspective on Star Wars at that time was just as a kid. Now that I've grown up, so to speak, and I have experienced life, and we got to see Lando in the second movie, right? Empire Strikes Back, and that was very, very good because they casted the right guy for that. Billy D. Williams. Shout out to the OG, Mr. Colt 45.
Show you right.
Mr. Colt 45. I mean, you gotta understand, Billy D. Williams was not I would say, a commercial success. Star Wars made him a commercial success. Billy D. Williams was doing movies like Mahogany with Diana Ross. He was doing movies, Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars and Motor Kings. He was doing stuff like that. He was entrenched in, he's black royalty, Hollywood royalty. And so when he got the role in Star Wars, his star was elevated. And we were glad to see him. And he was the only one for a very long time. I don't feel shaded. I felt shaded by Star Wars when they did this last trilogy, and they pulled the shell game on us with Finn, because we thought we were getting a black Jedi.
Everything in the storyline indicated that he was going to be a Jedi. Even that last film made it seem like he had some type of latent powers. And it's kind of like, why would you go there and you didn't make him the Jedi that he was supposed to be?
Right. And the thing is, his role to me would have been more important than, say, Mace Windu, because Samuel L. Jackson is already an established character. I mean, think about that for a second, okay? Samuel L. Jackson's resume is sick, and for him to do Mace Windu was like, really? That's like, dude, you're Nick Fury. You know what I'm saying? You've done a whole lot of your Gator in what was it, Jungle Fever? Yeah, I mean, this guy's been in a lot of movies, and he didn't really need to do Star Wars. My fandom did not increase because of Mace Windu. I was, I just kind of like, oh, that's nice. But when I was excited when we was in the theaters and we got to see Finn, and it was like, wow. And then they did a switcheroo.
Can I mention something about that, if you don't mind?
Go ahead.
All right. So it was clear when you saw that first movie with him in it. What is it called? The Last Jedi? No, not The Last Jedi. The Force Awakens.
Yes.
That he was being set up to become a Jedi. They had all the posters, the movie posters with him holding the lightsaber, everything. But they had such a backlash. Remember when that first trailer dropped for The Force Awakens? And it starts with seeing the stormtrooper then remove his head, and it's a black man. The backlash that Star Wars got on the internet back then was huge. People's heads, these fanboys' heads exploded. They could not conceptualize the concept of a black person wearing stormtrooper armor. Like it offended them on some type of guttural level that a black person dare be a stormtrooper. And I think that really, I honestly believe that backlash is what influenced them to change the storyline and move him away from not only being a Jedi, but being the love interest for Rey.
Not even a love interest. He was just chasing behind her, screaming her name for a whole movie.
Yeah, but I mean, he got friend zoned really quick. And I don't think that's the direction they originally intended it for it to be.
Oh wow!
And to see this newest sister get the backlash that she's had over really crazy. Well, she can't act. She's got a degree from Yale, like in acting. Like she can't act.
Well, you know what? I'll say this. About, and I want to get your feedback, Tameko, in a second. Moses Ingram.
Shout out to Moses Ingram.
I have enjoyed Moses Ingram.
Man, she's fired. That's not right. That's right. They should rename the show the Reva Show.
I'll be honest though, she's a little scary.
Third sister.
She definitely got Sith tendencies. I wouldn't want to see. I put it like this: I wouldn't be want to walking down a dusty, dark alley in Tatooine, and she on the other end, and I'm on the, you know what I'm saying, with a lightsaber in her hand. No, I'm running the other way. And but as far as the movie, the show itself, I was very disappointed in the last episode. Hopefully, it gets better. But
you were
with
disappointed
her,
in the last episode with Darth Vader going out and killing people left and right.
So Tameko, you please, sister, please bless us. What do you think about this fandom in regards to black and white? And is it the same? Is it different, or what?
It's very different. I mean, when I became a comic head, okay, it was a weird thing for others to see someone like me in the shop. So, it's looking through the lens of I'm not going to call it supremacy because there's nothing supreme about them. White savagery, because they just cannot imagine that black people were in the future.
Okay, can you hear Paul? I can't hear.
I hear her fine, enough so that I have to do this. All right, now Tameko, you officially crossed the line to where we have to do a disclaimer on you.
Yeah, but like I said, we have came into this fandom through the lens of Caucasian folk. And it's really horrible because I watch Star Trek, and seeing a horror there, but seeing so much nonsense that she had to go through. She almost considered quitting Star Trek because of all the fun.
Okay.
Uh-oh. So we lost Tameko. Do you remember that, can you hear me, Rich? Boy, we seem to be having a lot of technical difficulties tonight. That's crazy. So I'll just keep talking because no one else is talking. Dusty Dick Brown says, in a galaxy where you have aliens like Greedo, Mon Calamari, Jabba the Hutt, I find it difficult to comprehend how is it the people of color couldn't be in a galaxy inhabited by aliens. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
I mean, they're willing to accept, pink people, green people, purple people, but a black stormtrooper blows your mind. Racism is crazy. Dominic says white people can't imagine black people being in space, and that's why I agree with you so much, man. That's why having representation in sci-fi is so huge. I've been a sci-fi since I was a little boy. My dad was a sci-fi guy. I mean, we watched Star Trek together, the original Star Trek series. We watched Battlestar Galactica together. My parents took me to all the Star Wars movies. We were a sci-fi household. And it was important for me as a kid to see black people in the future unfettered and unbothered. That's what's important about seeing black people in sci-fi. They are unfettered by racism and they are unbothered by white supremacy. It's important for kids to see that. To dream of a future where they can be an astronaut. Astronaut Mae Jemison said she watched Star Trek, watched Lieutenant Uhura back in the day, and that inspired her to become an astronaut and realized that she could aspire to be more, that she could be in space. I mean, how many volumes does that speak? It's important having these images. So I'm a big thing when it comes to having this representation in these sci-fi films and having kids fantasize and be able to see that they're capable of doing more.
Okay, my question is this.
Particularly young sisters.
Okay, my question is this. Given that sci-fi and fandom in general is controlled and dominated by white people, what's the alternative? Because if Afrofuturism is an answer, but the question is, are we willing to answer the call for it? You know what I'm saying? And what I'm getting at is it can't be just in the medium of writing. You need to see it on screen.
Yeah, the images.
Um, the images on screen. I don't know what the thought is for if an item to become, something on a visual medium. But for me, for Afrofuturism to really take root in our community, kids have got to see it. If they can see it, then it's a possibility that this alternative to this science fiction that we've been getting and the lack of black faces, or the lack of melanin, it will answer it. Because I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. I used to watch Battlestar Galactica, the first Battlestar Galactica show. Buck Rogers in the 21st century. Yeah, exactly.
Battlestar Galactica had not one, but two black people in prominent roles in that show. That was unheard of.
Yeah,
that was unheard of.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, shout out to Gordon Mahan. That brother works like for NASA or Lockheed Martin or someplace like that. And he says he's been. I mean, I'm sure he got inspired by Star Trek back in the day.
I mean, and again, our fandom, we share the fandom, but our fandom is definitely, in my opinion, it's definitely different because our perspectives on how we see things, a lot of times it comes out of our experiences.
Dominic Smith says, if Afrofuturism becomes a thing, I'm willing to put my money down on it. Tell him about Infinitum, dude. You just mentioned that.
Yes, Infinitum. He may have this book already, but Infinitum by Tim Fielder is a book that if you are a collector, if you love Afrofuturism, you need this book in your collection.
Facts.
It is an amazing read. The art is outstanding, and it's epic. It is an epic. I will tell you, you will enjoy this. Infinitum is amazing. And so Afrofuturism is getting a lot of criticism now because it's something that white people don't understand. And like I said, I think it was last week or whatever, some things are not meant to be understood by me. It's our thing, and we need to make it our thing. And it only can become our thing if our people begin to embrace it all the more. I love what they're doing in Star Trek in terms of discovery and what they got going on. But I would love to see things like Infinitum come to the big screen and be a real blessing. Let me tell you something.
There you go. You just inspired Azores Tiger Comics to go ahead and order Infinitum. That's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's what the space is all about, gosh darn it.
So doing that though, it's one of those things where I'm glad that he was able to share. I was able to share that with him. Because guess what? Amani shared that he did an interview with Tim Fielder, and he always bigged up that book. And I was like, man, you know what? I gotta get, because I respect Amani's thought, because he's been in this game for his comics for a while. And so I was like, man, let me go pick this up. I picked it up, man. I could not put it down. And I said it on record that if I could get more of this, I would leave comics alone. Because for me, when it comes to the fandom, these stories, the reason why we're still clamoring for more representation, so to speak, is because these stories that are behind us, like this Bishop Wall, they're undeveloped. They only tell a small portion of what it is to be a superhero or a hero of color. Whether, think about a character like, say, Riri Williams, Ironheart, okay? You could do a whole lot of it with Riri Williams. But if you're content making her a team member of the Champions and not giving her her own book, if you're content with giving Moon Girl, she had a run that was like 40. You don't get 45 issues unless somebody. Okay, so stop playing with us. Opposites.
Mhm.
And we, if they took more time to develop these characters, if they took more time to like really tell a real story, like you, Mark and Paul talked the other night about Black Panther and how it's just natural for Storm and T'Challa to be together, but they won't tell that story because to tell that story is to give people pause when it comes to their own relationships. Because guess what? When you read this fandom, when you read these stories, and you can find yourself in the story, whether it's on the good side or the bad side, it gives you pause to think about your own life and the things, the choice that you make. That's why the arts will always be a part of intelligentsia or education. You need things to express and balance you out, just not information.
But we
Excuse
also
me.
need we also need people who look like us in those areas.
Yeah.
And because it
Yes.
seems like the folks who have their own production studios, the ones who do their own comics, it seems like they're not interested in doing it unless white people also like it too. And we need more of us behind the scenes to be able to bring these stories to life.
For those of you who are interested in buying that Infinitum book, Derek just put it in the chat, a link to it in the chat. Just click on it and you can purchase it there. Gordon says, we're going to see more Afrofuturism on screen with the screen adaptations of Octavia Butler's works. Dawn by Ava DuVernay and Kindred by Viola Davis are both coming to Amazon Prime, I believe. That's what's up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's great, but you know, that's only a few. Now, Octavia Butler is well overdue as for adaptations for her books. Shout out to John Jennings, who did Parable of the Sower and Kindred books, graphic novels. You want to read some Octavia Butler, the queen, the mother, the godmother of Black science fiction? Go get you some Octavia Butler. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Please give me your final thoughts as to what we talked about tonight, whether it's the comic books, whether it's low-hanging fruit, or the topic that we just covered. It's bless us for about a minute and so we can get out of here.
Well, let's not be afraid of Black women being in charge of things and being the face of things. Black women are awesome. Get into it.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I love y'all so much I had to marry one of y'all. What about you, Paul?
The Matrix Reloaded is one of the closest things we've ever seen to an Afrofuturism film initially on film. Think about it. That was a melanated movie.
Written by a Black woman. A lot of people don't know that.
That's up for debate. But you know,
yeah.
I will say that shout out to the Wachowskis because they originally wanted to have Will Smith be the lead of that series, who turned it down because he's Will Smith, and he regretted that. But they went out of the way to make those movies highly melanated. Their visualization of the future, particularly in that Matrix Reloaded movie, where they showed Zion, and they showed the people dancing in Zion, and it was just all a sea of brown people. You had people on their high council and the captains, and all of them are Black and brown people, showing what the future will actually look like with us in it, right? In realistic terms, not just a couple tokens here or there. Like, realistically speaking, in the future, it's going to be pretty brown, and that's what they did with those films. So it kind of gets slept on that in that regard. I don't know if that really answers your question, but yeah.
Say that when I began to think about the last topic, I wanted to now think about his diatribe on the house Negro and the field Negro, and how the house Negro lived in the house with his master, and they had a nice house, and he would tell the master, "We got a nice house here, master." And so when we get a lot of things going on in the fandom, and we see a lot of people that look like us, that talk very, very like them,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? It confuses me at times, and then I have to remember what Malcolm said about the house Negro. We have a lot of house Negroes and that, whatever reason, refuse to embrace and enjoy the diversity that is in comics, or that is in science fiction, or that is in fandom in general. And so, for those of you out there who are enjoying this fandom, you know, be yourselves, love yourself, look for but if you make a point to go away from who you are, you're denying a part of your blackness that deserves to be. So we're gonna get out of here. Before we get out of here, I want to tell you guys about blackcomiclords.net. Black characters, lots of black comic books. We have a lot. We have blogs there. We have merch. You can get a t-shirt. You can get a mask. Our logo on this. Stop by blackcomiclords.net. Check us out. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, check out our you'll see Nico doing live hauls. You'll see her talking with Brianna, talking about Naomi and things like that. We got a lot going on over here at Black Comic Lords, and we appreciate each and every one of you for participating and checking us out, you know. And if you're feeling a little, you know, gracious, you know, bless us with a donation. Hit our PayPal up. Or if you have any concerns, hit us on our website. I mean, not our website, but our email, blackcomiclords@gmail.com. You can email us with the concerns. You can email us with topics that you want us to talk about. We're here for you guys. We love you guys. And with that, this is your boy Rich. I got the Queen in here, Tameko. I got Paul in here. We want to say thanks, everybody. God bless. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace, everyone.